Once upon a time, in the village of Umudim, there lived a family, Mr. and Mrs. Osakwe. They were very good and kind people who loved to show love and concern to people around them. They were very kind to their fellow villagers and even those who they didn't know. But they were faced with one very big problem. They didn't have a child. They did all they could, consulted who they could consult, and even did all they were asked to do from those who advised them, yet nothing changed. Helping people and seeing other people made them feel a lot better about their condition. Some of the villagers pitied them in this sad condition, while the others mocked and gossiped about them, calling them barren and that they used all their children that they were supposed to have as sacrifice to acquire the wealth that they had, as they were very rich people. But this didn't prevent them from rendering help to who needed their help. On a fateful day, Mazi Osakwe went to his farm as usual, and on his way back in the evening, he saw an old woman by the bush path. He was shocked and surprised to see her all alone, as she was very old. He asked her, "Mama, why are you here all alone?" And she replied him, "My son, I lost my way and I am tired of walking aimlessly." He said to her, "Where is your house?" And she replied him, "I am from Udi. I came to pay a visit to my sick friend who lives here in Umudim. And since I left her place, I couldn't find my way back home." Udi village was the neighboring village, and Mazi Osakwe was even more shocked that she came alone. Then he said to her, "Mama, you are a very good woman for taking out time to visit your sick friend. Udi is still very far from here and it's already evening. Why don't you follow me to my house to eat and spend the night, then continue your journey tomorrow morning? I'm sure my wife will be happy to welcome you." The old woman was happy and agreed to join him. They finally got to Mazi Osakwe's house, and his wife, in her usual happy way, welcomed the old woman. The woman freshened up, ate, and was now relaxed. After some time, she got curious and asked about the whereabouts of the children. And with sadness in their face, they said they don't have any child and explained all they had gone through. She felt a great pity for them and told them that with her presence, things are about to change for good. And in less than a year, they will hear the cry of a baby in their home. They accepted the prayer, but they didn't feel any conviction within them because they've heard this so many times from different people. In the following year, as the old woman had said, Mazi Osakwe and his wife gave birth to a bouncing baby girl, and they named her ADANNA. They threw a big party and people celebrated with them and brought so many gifts for mother and child. They made sure they trained ADANNA with the right morals, and she grew up with it. At the age of 15, ADANNA's mother fell ill and she died. This devastated ADANNA and Mazi Osakwe. The death of her mother left a very big hole in her heart, but somehow she was grateful that her father was still alive and she had to move on. ADANNA grew into a very beautiful woman. She was the talk of the town. Girls envied her and wished to be like her, while the men wished they could marry her. She was very homely and took the teachings of her late mother serious. Some years after the passing of her mother, ADANNA's father was also bitten by a snake in his farm, and he died. ADANNA cried so much and felt so lonely as she didn't have anybody to run to. She became a prey to people who disliked her family, as her father wasn't there to protect her again from them. Her uncles, who barely visited when her parents were alive, came to claim her father's property, his field and his farmlands. She was left with nothing but the house in which she stayed in. She had to pick up menial jobs to survive. She was laughed at and mocked by some villagers because of her condition. One day, as she was returning from fetching firewood, she met a very handsome young man who was walking down the road with his bags. She could tell that he just traveled into the village and wondered who he was. His name was Obiora and he's the son of the king. When they got closer, he asked what her name was and she told him. They stared at each other before going their separate ways. Obiora came out each day looking for ADANNA but couldn't find her. He had to ask his parents for the house of late Mazi Osakwe, as she had told him that she was the daughter of late Mazi Osakwe. He went to her house to pay a visit and she was shocked to see him at her door. He introduced himself as Obiora, one of the king's sons who just returned from America after completing his education. She was amazed and asked him what America was like, as she had always dreamed of being there. They had a very good conversation. They kept saying after that, and this sparked a rumor all around the village that the king's son wants to get married to ADANNA. He decided to make this rumor a reality by proposing to her, and she happily said yes, and her life changed and never remained the same. They lived happily ever after. What we can learn from this story is that we should keep being good despite our circumstance, and we should also bear in mind that no situation is permanent. Things will eventually turn out to be better. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and turn on your post notification to get notified when next I post a new video. Bye!